welcome to DJ Eat 360 Words. How's your day going?
It's going great.
Yeah,
It's doing very great. It's going very great.
beautiful Saturday, huh?
Yes.
So let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Born and raised,
Yes. I was born in Washington,
DC.
D.C.,
Okay,
and I was raised in Baltimore, Maryland.
okay.
So I represent both
So
places.
how is your that's the stage of your life between 0 and 7?
Let's see.
Yeah,
I
it's
grew
way
up.
back, but
Yeah, I always it's fresh in my memory.
okay.
But I grew up with my father,
Hmm.
my mother, in a home. So I didn't grow up with a single family home. I grew up with loving parents. We were in church a lot.
Okay.
So we didn't have a lot of time.
Mm.
Music was something that we did with church and everything, singing in the choir or singing, but um, no hip hop was not allowed in our home. uh, Back then, I loved like Marvin Gaye, like Diana Ross, Aretha Franklin, but that was not allowed in our house. So it was kind of hard because I
Even
heard
that
it,
too.
huh?
Even that kind of music too.
Yeah, it wasn't allowed in our home.
What the profanity? You mean
No,
the
just
Marvin
just
Gaye's?
yeah, the Marvin Gaye's. Yeah, my father would not allow that. Mm.
Okay.
Any he called it the devil's music. Basically,
Oh, okay.
he felt as though if it wasn't of God,
Oh,
it did not need to be in the home.
so it was strictly gospel.
Strictly,
Right.
Christianity
Okay.
was evangelist all the way around the board.
Okay.
So it was just hard because I wanted to venture off. I think it was one of my older sisters.
Mhm.
They had a tape, and I found it, and I just put it in a cassette, and it just had Marvin Gaye, and it had Aretha, and it had Diana Ross. And I just kept listening to that. I probably had to be every bit of maybe 7 or 8 years old.
Mhm.
So I've been listening to them for the longest time, all my life, since I was younger.
Okay.
So that's what inspired me with the music. I knew of the Christian music, the Christianity music, but it was the other side of me that I wanted to listen to the Marvin Gaye,
Okay.
what's going on, stuff like that. So that's where it all started when it came to the other side of music, when it comes
Okay.
to the Christian music and then the other side. So,
Okay.
but,
So it sounds like you have like a very stable, environment growing up.
well, let's just say this much: it wasn't too stable because I had 5 sisters and 3 brothers, so it's a big family. It's 9 of us, and what I seen growing up was my older sisters.
Mhm.
It was 4 younger ones. We were the younger ones, and then we had the 5 older ones. But what I grew up was seeing my older siblings on drugs.
Okay.
So I seen them using drugs, abusing drugs. You know how they say that the pastor's kids are the
Mhm.
worst ones. They were on drugs and between alcohol, abusing alcohol. So I seen that growing up in my younger ages. I grew up just seeing what drugs and what alcohol does to the body, what it do to people. So
Okay.
for me, that's why I do not go with
Right. Okay.
that route of dealing with any type of drugs. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I drink wine, but occasionally. But that's the main reason why I do not want to partake in any of that because I seen what it did to my family. So I
Okay.
grew up seeing that, and it wasn't good. I didn't understand it as a child, but eventually I started to I knew it wasn't right.
Mhm.
From whatever age that I started seeing it happen, I just knew it wasn't right. So I knew right from wrong at that age. And then I
Okay.
just knew that I didn't want to follow in their footsteps. It made me go the opposite way.
Okay. So I'm assuming growing up in like uh a it's not you didn't grow up in like in a very toxic environment, but your
No.
folks are kind of like they cross into that lifestyle.
Right.
So you didn't grow up in like a drug infested like area per se, right?
Well, the area that I lived in Baltimore City,
So it was
it was drugs going around in the local
okay, all
area.
right.
So it was
all right.
drug dealing and stuff like that, but it wasn't that bad. You
Okay.
didn't hear shots, guns,
Mhm.
and everything. But maybe gunshots are far off.
Yeah.
But when you're in the city, you're going to hear that.
Yeah.
Certain parts of the city in Baltimore, you're going to hear that. But I lived on a main street where it was a lot, it was a fire department down the street, a police department around the corner. So you're going to hear the ambulance, but it wasn't like gun shooting and get out, nothing like that.
Okay.
It wasn't that.
So I'm assuming you had some type of education. Did you go to any high school
Yes.
in that area?
I went to high school. I graduated from high school in that area. And then after I graduated in 94, I moved to PG County area.
Okay.
So that's when I came down here. Now, the original plan was to be a state police. That was the original plan. But that changed when I wound up meeting my ex-husband at that time. But now, when things got closer for me going through the academy and everything, I chose to just let him be the police officer.
Okay.
So I did something which was my second love, which was working in the medical field. So I went to school for dental assisting.
Okay.
So I did that, went to school for that, and ever since then, I loved working with the dentist. I had plans to go back and continue my education for dental hygienist.
Okay.
So
what made you want to be a police officer to begin with? It's the environment?
I think it was more of, I am the type of person that when it comes to the laws,
Okay.
I like for people to abide by the laws,
Okay.
or I like for things to be right. I think it's more of the politics side of it, just making sure the law is being done correctly.
Okay.
So that was my passion. I still have the passion.
Okay.
Like, I believe in all right, no wrong. I believe in, like, when I'm teaching my kids or telling my kids right from wrong, I tell them we don't talk, we don't say hate. I tell them more of we dislike.
Okay.
So it's just all a part of my upbringing. And for me, I'm more of the peacemaker.
Okay.
I'm the peacemaker in my family.
All right. So have you taken any music classes
Yes.
throughout that early education phase?
Yes.
Okay.
I was taking music classes from church.
Mm-hmm.
We were used to music and everything from there.
Yeah.
But then once I came over here in PG County, I started taking voice lessons.
Okay.
I knew it was something that I wanted to do.
Okay.
So I just kept pushing forward.
Okay.
I just kept pushing forward. I would not let that go by. So I took I had 3 different music teachers that I took different types of music classes.
Okay.
But being a mom and being a wife at that time, it was hard.
Okay.
Another thing I wanted to do was modeling. I felt as though I had the height on me, even though I was more of like a plus size. If you're not a 6, you plus size. But
yeah, they're really thin.
yes, very much so. But I knew I wanted to do that. I wanted to that's just always been a part of me. But I put all of that on the back burner to be a mom and to be a wife at that time. So my music career, I said, nah, and then I had my husband at the time. His hours, his police officer hours was really
not the ordinary.
We weren't able to.
Okay.
If I wanted to say, for instance, if I was going to go on tour, I didn't have that support from him, so to speak, to watch the kids because he had to work.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just hard. So I just took everything and I just put it on the back burner. But I still made sure I took some voice lesson classes. So.
Any instrument you've learned to play?
No, I did not learn to play an instrument. But lately, when I was in high school, I played drums. So I did I was in the marching band. So music has always been a part of me because all 4 years of high school, I was in the marching band.
Okay.
I was the first young lady in our school to play the first tonal, we call it first tonal, the first drum, the small drum for the marching band. I was the first young lady to play the drum in high school.
So it feels like you had a lot of musical influence.
Yes.
That's going to explain the reason you're doing music now. Because that's what I'm trying to see exactly, get to as far as where that influence came from.
Right. It's always been in me. It's in my soul.
Okay.
It's in my soul. When I wake up, if the kids be like, Mommy, we don't feel like getting up, I'll start singing a song about getting up. You got to get up. So I'll just say.
So it's something that's natural.
Yes.